this trying to develop this relationship with my higher self. And I haven't necessarily done anything specific with it other than just sort of imagining it in meditations that are guided through an app or things like that. And I often think of my higher self as like the part of me that knows the right answer to questions or the right decision to make, or the one that has the best interests in mind of myself and others necessarily. So
That's
I guess I've been a bit on a quest,
Yeah.
maybe in the last 2 years, maybe 1.5 years of like sort of like trying to tap into that more. And also, I guess, in an effort to sort of develop a sense of what like my purpose is.
Mhm.
I feel like that's an area that's been challenging for me as I become an adult, continually trying to understand what it is to be an adult.
I love that. And I think it's amazing how when you speak about it, I really get the sense of guidance and intuition, maybe would use the word intuition, that you know what's right to do. Or
Yeah, I think sometimes I get a little confused about like making, yesterday when we were talking in the session about, I think I chose the action as one of my strategies or whatever it was called. And the question was like, do you have a hard time making decisions? Like if it's a really big decision, and it was like, that's easier for me, but smaller decisions I struggle with. When I'm like, should I move? I'm like, yes, right now. Like I'll pack everything up, I'll get rid of everything, let's go. But if it's like, should I like, choose this restaurant or this restaurant, or should I, more like daily things I struggle with. So
okay.
so I'm trying to develop a stronger sense of my intuition and like put space around things. So it's like, what is it for me and not what is it for everyone else? Like that's sort of like where I'm at in my journey.
That's great. So I love your clarity of getting into that connection with yourself. It sounds like you're wanting to listen to what you need in the moment.
Yeah.
Would you say normally you're pretty spread out in listening to others too?
Yeah, I'm like overly aware of what everyone else is thinking and wanting and feeling, and trying to appease everyone and try to, which is not possible. And so I am definitely trying to, in this last year especially, had some challenges in my marriage that have sort of like propelled me into this like, I really have to protect myself and I really have to know what's right for me. And I really have to listen because my body was telling me a lot of things and I didn't know how to interpret them. And then eventually like it all came to a head and it was like, whoa, okay. I was right in my intuition,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And then I had to like, but it was, it was like a blessing, of course, to now be able to see it in retrospect and say, okay, my body was telling me I was right and I didn't know how to listen. And now I can like understand my cues a little bit better.
That's amazing. So your body is a very good source for information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So while we do this journey, let's really honor that and listen to the body. Are there any other sense channels that you find are good communicators for you other than seeing?
Other than what was that?
Most people think of seeing when they're meditating, visual, but I'm
Sure.
wondering
Yeah.
about hearing, feeling, knowing, just a sense of knowing something, or memory, and also the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah. So I'm really, I've been trying to sort of understand all the different ways to sense, especially since one of the sessions a few weeks ago in a live class when you were working with Deb, I think, and you guys were talking about that. And I wouldn't say that I I hear things, but I like words come up for me.
Okay.
Like I get a really strong sense of words, visuals. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally flushed out
And
there.
the body.
Yeah.
You just spoke
Yeah.
very clearly about the body. So
Mhm.
this is great. So the reason I'm asking you this stuff is so that when I am guiding you, I
Mhm.
make sure to remind you If any words have been coming up, you can speak them out loud. So I write them down. If
Okay.
there's been any images, if there's been any body awareness. So if that's okay with you, I'll just remind you, I'll give you those cues. Awesome.
Okay.
And because I'm looking down because I'm looking at my printed book.
Sure.
So we're going to begin this session just first allowing yourself to have that intention for what you've been working on for the last year or two, just that's very important. And we can just allow that to deepen today. And you've already closed your eyes. So, that's wonderful. Feel free to open them at any time. You're totally in control. And so let's just begin with some breathing, whatever you find to be a comfortable rhythm of your breath. And just feeling the ground under your feet and just allowing yourself to really center and know that you're connected to the earth and that you're stable, present. And at any time you can talk to me about your experience, anytime you want to share. And just as you continue to breathe, you may want to imagine that your exhale lets you relax a little bit more and unwind, and your inhale fills you with energy and vividness. And giving yourself permission to just open all your senses, that sense of words, that sense of body awareness, of imagination, of inner knowing. And allow yourself to imagine a place in nature, anywhere you want to imagine, that's really, really nice for you to be in. So, and when you have that place, just tell me about it. This could be anywhere that you've been or not been.
So this is this will be, I don't know if Mark's on the call, but he was my partner last night and I was explaining to him this place, but it's like a place that I pictured really easily. It's like kind of a wooded place with birch trees and a bit mossy rocks, not big rocks, but like small rocks, little those little red mushrooms. I don't know. It's very like Scandinavian, sort of like maybe some.
I love that.
Fairy garden or something.
Yeah. So take some time there. Go closer to the trees or the mushrooms or the rocks. Notice the way the air is, and just invite all of your different senses to imagine, and take all the time you want there. Breathing. Maybe you can imagine what it feels like under your feet or what the weather is like.
Yeah, it's a bit damp, kind of foggy.
That's wonderful. And when you're there, just see if you could bring into your imagination a kind of bridge or something that kind of winds through the landscape. It might go through, it might go up, and notice what that path is made of. There might be steps or rocks or wood.
Yeah, it's wood. It's definitely like a wood, something that's been constructed, like a wooden pathway.
Great. So just imagine you're walking on that pathway and you're going to the next level of this place in nature. And the landscape might change a little. It's also just really nice for you to be there. It's somewhere you really like to be. It fills you with emotions that are helpful, or with seeing, or with noticing. And tell me what this next place in nature you go to on this path, how it is.
It sort of ends at like a more of a rocky precipice that I have to sort of navigate vertically.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem necessarily obvious at first, but I can like, oh, I can climb up there. And so I climb up there. And it's a bit sandy. And there's some like ferns and it's a bit more grassy and more open.
That's great. And just notice, notice that openness and anything you want to get closer to or anything you want to see more wide angle or feel. And notice your body here, what your body is telling you. And in this landscape, there might be a special spot you're drawn to. And if there is a special spot or just something that you notice you're aware of right now, whatever that is, you can let me know, or you can just be there in your own experience.
Yeah, I feel like there's a cave that's sort of there. Bit of a cave
Great.
at the like other side of like this little opening.
Yeah. And do you want to sit in front of the cave or in the cave, or do you want to stand? How would you like to
Yeah,
interact with the cave?
I would go. I would peek my head in. I'm a little hesitant,
Okay,
but
perfect. Perfect. So let's just imagine, let's invite that as you peek your head in the cave or near the cave, wherever it is, there is either a person or a mystical being or an animal or plant. It could be something like an element like the sun or the wind or the earth, but something there that is here to teach you more about your own truth, your own purpose and direction, and to just really help you feel that higher self within. Does anything show up near the cave or in the cave?
yeah, it's like a deer.
A
Uh,
deer.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
sort of timid deer.
Oh, great. And do you have a curiosity or are you drawn to the deer? How do you relate to the deer?
I think we're both a little surprised, but I feel like, you know, it's there's like a growing safety between us. Like I'm not going to hurt you and it's okay.
Great. So just invite yourself to go a little more into this connection with the deer, however that is for you, just really honoring your own truth right now, how you want to relate to the deer. And if you wish, you could invite the deer to show you something about your higher self. And I'm guessing, I don't want to guess here. Do you feel that this deer is a guide or a teacher about your higher self?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just invite any noticing. You might get information through your body awareness, through words, feelings, more images, however it comes. And this is just a time to allow yourself to fill up with more truth about what is the most beneficial, most aligned, most truthful in you. This might relate to your purpose. It might relate to something else. So just allowing whatever to shows up, and feel free to share with me what you want to share.
I just feel like the sense that I should be really still so that the deer can trust me
Mm,
and and like feel very safe. And then
yeah.
the deer can come out of the cave and
Okay.
be in that sort of field space with me. And we
Okay.
can sort of just like coexist there um, and like become more comfortable.
Great. How do you invite the stillness in you?
Just sort of like how I am now with
Yeah.
a very like grounded presence in my body with
Yeah.
my eyes closed and sort of like just becoming more neutral in the space.
Wonderful. So take your time, take all the time you need here, letting that deer know that you're very safe, very still, very present, and noticing the field,
deer's like getting more comfortable and sort of nibbling on some of the grasses,
Yeah,
which is like a signal that it feels safe.
good. So just taking time to appreciate this nibbling on the grasses, what the air feels like, and allowing this to be exactly how it is. Allowing yourself to feel into your body, allowing any words or images, just noticing your experience as you're there.
Yeah. The word path comes to mind.
Path. Yeah. And let that be here and show you anything else that you need right now. Path. Does it come with images or other
Yeah.
senses?
I sort of picture like seeing the terrain in a new way and recognizing that there's a bit more of a path that goes even higher up above the cave,
Mm,
and that the deer can kind of like guide me up there.
great. So take your time. Would you like to explore that going up above the cave?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like I didn't realize how close I was to maybe like the top of a mountain,
Yeah.
and that the path sort of leads up there, and it's like overlooking like a very vast valley.
And how is your body speaking to you as you're there, noticing the landscape, the valley, whatever it is that you're sensing?
Feels really expansive. I sort of can feel like this, like the air,
Yeah.
like this loftiness of the air could sort of just like expand, like this expansive air
Great.
kind of flowing up over the mountain.
And is there any intention you have to receive any more information from the deer or from the landscape or from something more within? Just notice, is there any intention here? Anything you would like to receive or notice or know about your higher self?
Just that perspective is like so important, which I
Mm,
feel like is something I really know all about myself. But like that view of like the valley and like just seeing like all the way to the horizon, like, coming out of the forest and just seeing the whole landscape, it's like so uplifting. It's like so breathtaking almost.
mm. Great. Take some time there and just breathe and be and allow anything that you wish to notice or intend, the relationship with the experience, the deer, or possibly in another way you're relating to it, just allowing and filling up with your own resources here. If you want to, you can bring more awareness into the body or into another sense channel like listening or seeing or feeling, really just trusting what comes in now.
Yeah, I think the deer is sort of like quietly left, and there's an eagle. Just a reminder that
Yeah,
the perspective up above, like, is always so important.
yeah. So allowing this to be here with you. And if you wish, you can invite the eagle to give you more information about your higher self or your life, your perspective, your experience.
I just get a sense of peacefulness.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And invite that peacefulness around you and in you and connecting you with everything that you're aware of. And when you're ready, you can thank the eagle, thank the deer, thank yourself and the landscape, and then find your way back to that area in that field near the cave, taking it all in, taking your time, breathing. Let's just go very slowly the way you want to trace your journey to the different places until you're back going down those steps. But just breathing and being very, very relaxed and peaceful as you go back through the landscape you've been in. Keeping with you the sense of the deer, of the perspective of the eagle, the peacefulness, and also inviting any other gifts in as you walk back through the landscape until you're back to the first landscape with the trees and the mushrooms and the moss.
I pictured a hammer and a chisel.
Perfect.
Sort of like coming into my hands.
I'll
Which
write
seems
that
kind of
down
funny.
for you. And when you're ready, we can just count backwards together. Maybe you want to take 5 breaths. You tell me I'm ready. I don't want to
Sure.
count too soon. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Just 5, breathing in fully and exhaling fully. 4, maybe you notice your body a little bit more as you breathe. 3, any internal words you want to give yourself. 2, if you want to open and close your hands or wiggle your feet. And 1, rolling your shoulders or yawning or stretching when you're ready, opening your eyes.
That's fun.
Oh, thank you. It was really nice to do that with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I like to kind of go over the journey a little bit, what you shared with me. So now that you're, if you want, your more regular reality mind can kind of process it. So is there any kind of moments that stand out to you now that you'd like to remember?
I think it was like this, the dimensionality of it, like I've seen that mossy place so many times. I don't know why, but it's always like so kind of 2D in a way, like fairly 3D, and then to be able to like walk through it and see, like these different dimensions, and it's really neat to like connect all of those different experiences. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, and I loved your way of experiencing the deer, like the respect you had for that interaction. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there anything, I don't know how much you remember it, but you talked about stillness and that the deer was a little bit shy or hesitant. Is there any memory of that's helpful?
I think maybe something important about that was like recognizing that it was okay for me to be there, and that if I like stayed still within myself and not nervous to be there, that I could maintain this situation. I
Right.
guess.
Mhm.
Like sort of like a confidence almost, or like a knowing that everything would be okay, that it was like it was right to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I appreciated that a lot, as like, of course, I'm not there with you, but I'm appreciating what you're telling me and kind of the tone of it. And
Hmm.
there just felt like so much relaxation. And
Hmm.
I rarely get to go on a journey with someone like that, where there's so much just this sort of deep presence. So yeah. And that might have been me oversharing a little bit there.
Oh no, I'm glad you shared
Yeah.
that. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then when you went then to the higher, that was really interesting that you were guided up over the cave, and then you saw that bigger perspective. And it seemed like
Hmm.
you spoke of a lot of expansion.
Hmm.
And then there was the eagle. Anything
Hmm.
you want to remember from that part?
Um, I don't know, almost like the sense that like there's no sort of final point or like one, like it's all connected. Like it was like this leads to this, leads to this and this, but ultimately this perspective was like what was so important was like not recognizing the the perspective that was available or something, like having been in like the closed in space and then into the open space. Um, that difference in perspective.
Yeah. So being able to
Yeah.
feel
Shift
those two
between,
differences. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the
Mhm.
eagle.
Yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't a hawk because I see hawks a lot, like in
Uh-huh.
my daily life, and I live in the city, so it's kind of funny. But um, I yeah, but it was definitely an eagle. It was like there, it was eagle. It was just like eagle. But I think it's like the eagle. I think when I think of the eagle, it's like so big and
Yeah.
it's sort of like I think of it as like the king bird.
Oh, I love that. And did you feel that both the deer and the eagle were guides or teachers?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like almost like the deer was me almost,
Mm.
and then the eagle was like not necessarily me, but more of a guide. Yeah.
More of a guide. So
Yeah.
showing you different aspects, maybe,
Mm,
like you were saying,
yeah.
different perspectives. Um, and then I think it was after that. Well, okay, so when you were I'm just looking at my notes. You talked about the perspective is so important, view the valley, coming out of the forest, uplifting. And then as you were working your way back, you had a hammer and a chisel come in.
Hmm. Yeah. When you said any gifts, my hands sort of opened behind, like I was walking, but my hands opened and sort of like, I was like, oh, a chisel, like a very old fashioned chisel and a
Yeah.
hammer, like a rudimentary sort of tool. Um,
What would they be for? As
I don't
symbols or
know.
metaphors or actual practical? I don't know. Maybe you're
Mm,
a sculptor, but probably not, huh?
well, I do have a degree in art,
Oh, okay.
that I'm not, that I'm not really using. Um, but also like got it. I've been, um, um, sort of exploring tarot this year,
Uh-huh.
and it just really reminded me of the Eight of Pentacles. And in the Eight of Pentacles, the the guy is hammering, chiseling the pentacles, and the whole meaning of that card is sort of like developing through diligence and like repetition, like the skills.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
great.
ever enjoy getting that card, but that card is like so vivid to me. Like it's like very, so it's like those tools kind of remind me of that card.
So that seems important. Would you say
Yeah.
that's important, even if
Yeah.
maybe you don't always like getting it? It's important.
Yeah. Cause it
Yeah.
reminds you that like you just have to kind of just keep
Yeah.
honing, keep honing, keep honing.
Yeah. And so when we started talking, you talked a little bit about how the higher self, tuning into that part of yourself more, will help you in the kind of small choices and listening to your needs, not everything else. Um, I'm wondering now if we kind of came back to that, or to another kind of big decision, sort of way of living you've had in your life. Is there anything that shows up? We can go any direction you want. A habit, a key decision, that sort of smaller decisions. Does anything show up?
Yeah, I guess it's always just this sense that like that like I'm interested in many things, but I have a hard time like sinking into one thing. So I feel like there must have been I don't know, I can't think of like what the key decision would be, but I feel like there was like a decision made that I could never I guess specialize, or I could never be what's the word I'm looking for? What's it when you're really good at one thing? What is that called?
I know what you mean, like a specialist, or
yeah, like a specialist, or like a, I don't know, a professional
expert.
keeps coming in my mind. Expert. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I've always had this like
Yeah.
very cat and mouse sense of like wanting to be an expert, but recognizing that that can be a pigeonhole, and like sort of like cat and mouse with that idea. And so I feel like I struggle a lot with like imposter syndrome, and I feel like there's something there where I'm like not. I also like am at this stage where I'm trying not to judge myself for the decisions I've made and the things that I've followed, like the paths I've followed. But there's always this nagging sense of like, am I always just going to be trying new things like my whole life, which is not terrible.
Right. Yeah. What have been the benefits of having that ability to try new things? And
yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of people. I've lived a lot of places. I've had a lot of different experiences. Like I've had a lot of fun.
yeah.
But I feel like there's like, there's a little bit of that, like, it's not like I want to take myself seriously, but I feel a little bit like I can't take myself seriously.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And you had talked in the beginning about like this adult self.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's interesting to compare that, like that ability in you to take yourself seriously, or to kind of own your more current mature self. I'm wondering if you do it much more now than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially this year, the work that I've been doing, I've definitely come into a piece of like acceptance, and knowing that everything is as it's meant to be, and I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And so like there's a piece there, and I'm actively working on that in different ways, but it's mostly through a reframing of a critical voice, and a comparative, like the comparison of myself to others, and where I thought I could have been by this point, and these kinds of things. So I don't know if I answered your question, or if there was.
Oh, absolutely. That seems like a very empowering we could look at it as a decision or a new way of being.
Yeah, totally.
Where you're able to own that.
Yeah, definitely. Say like now there's been a key decision made for moving forward, of like accepting myself in the moment, like in this moment as everything is. And that reminds me of the eagle and the perspective from the mountaintop. Like, oh, I just need to just not stay down in the bushes, even though it's pretty, like, at the mountaintop I can see like everything is totally fine. Everything's where it's meant to be.
Okay. So are there any times in your day-to-day life where you would like to embody more of both that belief in yourself and that mountaintop eagle perspective, when it would help you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe actually at night.
At night. Wow.
Yeah. Sort of like the culmination of my day and being like, okay, I need to, like just let everything go and picture myself at the top of that mountain every night.
Oh, I love that. That's
You know?
amazing. Yeah. And it is your, I don't know why I'm asking this, but how was your sleep or your dreams? Is that an important time for you?
Yeah, it's important to
Yeah.
me because I dream a lot and
Yeah.
I don't always have really awesome dreams. I have kind of scary dreams. And so I feel like maybe if I were to like integrate myself like that at night, then
Mhm.
maybe I would be able to like release some of the subconscious
Yeah.
insecurities that come up in my dreams.
Yeah.
Um, and that might be a good practice to like be able to sort of integrate before sleep.
That sounds like a really good practice. Do you think bringing in your higher self guide of the eagle could help you then, like even inviting
Hmm.
into your dreams?
Yeah, I think so because I have been wanting to like work with my dreams, but I sometimes feel like a little unsure of like what like I could be getting into bed. I could like put a stone under my pillow, but like I don't really have like anything that I've connected with to like that's like, oh, I can easily like, go in bed, close my eyes, picture the eagle, picture the mountaintop and just invite it to like bring me on a journey or whatever it is that,
Right.
might be helpful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think that's
Yeah,
really
that's
amazing.
good. It's a really
Yeah.
that's like seems very doable.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you're in your daytime, is there any reminder you can give yourself during the day
Mhm.
of that intention for doing that practice at night and for having those dreams? Because I've learned a lot in lucid dreaming that if we set little mini reminders during the day, just like
Okay.
tonight, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do
Right.
this,
Right.
it helps.
Yeah. Um, Probably a reminder on my phone,
Yeah.
or maybe just some like a sticky note somewhere. What I've been doing is writing some notes to myself on my refrigerator
Oh,
with a
that's
dry
great.
erase marker.
Yeah.
So I'm always in the kitchen cooking or cleaning up or something, and when I see my reminders there, those are helpful for me. So maybe I'll do something like that
That's
because I am
great.
trying to be on my phone less. So
Yeah.
maybe something in my environment would be more helpful.
Okay. And has anything else kind of shown up as we're talking about these aspects that you just want to share before we close, or maybe not? Doesn't matter.
The only other thing that came up was the word discernment.
Hmm.
Um, that word came up sort of as we were leaving uh, that location.
Hmm.
Discernment was the word that came with me.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. What does it mean
yeah,
to you?
I think it just means discerning the higher experience of life from like getting caught up in the lower sort of mundane things that can get tricky and confusing and using that discernment to like separate out and know that everything is just as it's meant to be.
Mm. Super valuable. You also said the word path early in the journey.
Oh yeah, I
You
forgot.
got
Yeah.
path and discernment. And so just if you wanted to notice also, you're great at clarifying the meaning for yourself. So was
Mhm.
there a meaning for path also?
Path, path, yeah, path. So I think I take that to mean like the path is you're on the path. Like I'm on the path. We're
Yeah.
on the path.
Yeah. On the path.
Like there's no separate
Yeah.
path. It's just
Yeah.
this is the path. Yeah.
Great. Great. And I'm going to invite you, if you want to, as a little homework during this week sometime, just
Okay.
to relive your journey.
Hmm.
and you can let it develop more, change. You can guide yourself through those different landscapes and invite the deer and invite the eagle and invite the words, path,
Mhm.
discernment, the uplifting sense, the view, the coming out of the forest, the valley, being in the forest also, the eagle,
Mhm.
and the hammer and chisel, the card of the 8 pentacles. So just inviting that all in. And like if you need me to, I'm happy to send you these notes of those words, or I mean, you're very clear. So if you want to take little notes after this, it would be
Yeah.
better for you not to do this journey again right now.
Okay.
So it would be good to, we'll see if the team can partner you with someone who has less time, that you can be, if you want to be the coach for it.
Mhm. Sure.
And if not, you can watch someone else do the session as an observer. So that's always
Okay.
something we say after someone does a session as the client. Then when it comes to practice time, either give yourself a break or be the coach or watch. You
Okay.
choose what's best for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bianca.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
love
very
that.
much. That
Thank you.
was lovely. Thanks.
Yeah.